Welcome back, everybody, to the OPT Network. This is the final point on point today. And I know that this story is a harrowing story. And if you're like me, I wondered how Nicole could even bring herself to share this story. But on the other side of the coin, we understand why she and Bodie Miller and their families and all of the people and parents who have lost children to drowning have come together so that it doesn't happen to another child and another family. And as I sat and I listened to her story, you try to put yourself in that position. You never really could, because if we hadn't had a child that drowned, we could never even understand the depths of pain and the magnitude of that moment as she described it. Seeing Levi at the bottom of that pool and everybody rushing in. And you can imagine all of these doctors, friends in the friend group, working on this baby to try to help him to breathe again. And it just didn't happen. The reason why this story is critically important as we head towards summer is that we're going to read about other stories just like their families. And it's going to happen as sure as we're sitting here. But we can put some safety precautions in place. And now that we have two small children in our care again, it really, really makes me think about safety mechanisms. And one of the things that we did last summer is we had the now 3-year-old, he was 2 then, start with swim lessons. But what we're going to do is have more conversations about what parents and grandparents and people raising children can put in place so that if children fall in the water, they won't just float to the bottom or sink to the bottom, that they know how to turn over, roll over on their back and float. And this is something that we can't take for granted. It's too late after a child drowns. We have to start early and often, educating our kids about water and water safety and making sure, and I don't think that they understand the difference between the floaties and the life jackets. Babies just think that they can swim, and the natural gravitation is to the water. So we as adults have to be educated so that we don't have to share another story of loss. And right after we did this interview, I saw a video of a woman who had let her 2 boys sort of slip away. And I say let, but nobody really lets kids slip away. Now, she had been drinking. It was a different story. And just luckily, the woman in the hotel was monitoring the pool and the spa area and saw the little boy go down underneath the water. And he wasn't even in the pool. He was in the spa, in the hot tub. And she sent someone to pluck him out of the water. And it's just but for the grace of God that the man that she called knew CPR. That's another thing. We all have to know how to use CPR and how to perform CPR. You think it'll never happen to me. It always happens to somebody else. The fact of the matter is, we don't know if or when it's going to happen. We would rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Can you imagine how terrifying, how much more terrifying it would have been to get the child out of the water and not know how to help via CPR? So these are things that as families and children are going to be going out to beaches and lakes across the country that we need to understand. And I like what Nicole said. They've put a system in place that says who's watching the kids. If you have toddlers, they will get away from you in a nanosecond. And you look up and you'll look around. You can't find them in the first place you go, the water. They're there. Not a chance. They really don't have a chance. So that's why her story and stories like hers are critically important, so that this conversation won't have to happen again. That's been the final point on point today. Stay with us, everybody. We're back to wrap up right after this.